The Sixers pull off the Game 5 upset at TD Garden off the back of Joel Embiid, who carried them all the way through, well, at least in the second half. We'll get to that soon. The Sixers just beat the Celtics at their own game. They decided to be chucking up threes literally the entire game. All the Sixers were doing were shooting threes. That was their strategy heading into Game 5. They ended up shooting 15 for 42, 36%. Boston shot 11 for 39, 28%. And the Celtics are one of the highest volume three-point shooting teams in the league. They did not shoot well. We all know they live by the three, die by the three, yet it was the Sixers who replicated their exact play style and ended up beating them, which is hilarious. It is just flat out embarrassing for the Celtics. The fact that you had a team like the Sixers who barely even have that many three-point shooters to begin with. Embiid was 0 for 5. He thought that he was Dirk Nowitzki in the beginning of the game, just chucking up threes left and right. The Celtics were leaving him wide open for a reason, and I thought Embiid was just cooked. I did not see him dominating the rest of the way through. He looked passive, at least when it came to trying to create any pressure at the rim. He was floating on the perimeter pretty much throughout the entire first quarter, taking a bunch of threes. Boston was leaving him wide open. He was bricking all of them. Then in the second half, he flipped the switch, decided to remember that he was Joel Embiid, one of the most lethal post players this game has ever seen. You saw him, just destroying Nikola Vucevic, Neemias Queta. They cannot do anything. He was hitting reverse layups on him, 15-foot jumpers. There's that one play, I think, in the fourth where you had Embiid backing down Derek White. Jayson Tatum sends the double. Too late, Embiid gets it all the way to Grimes out on the right wing. Grimes drains the three. We'll get to Quentin Grimes in a moment, but this was a good victory for the Sixers. I mean, everyone was ripping them last game with how soft they looked, how nonchalant they looked, how, little fire they had. They just let the Celtics walk all over them with the offensive rebounds. You still saw a little bit of that in this game too. One play, I think in the second quarter, it was Tyrese Maxey going up against Jordan Walsh, they were contesting for a rebound. Celtics, I think it was Tatum or something who missed it. Celtics missed a shot. Instead of trying to box out Jordan Walsh, Maxey was just scratching at him, facing him, and Walsh was like, "Come on, man, I'm much bigger than you," and just pushes him off to the side, gets the offensive rebound, gets an extra possession for the Celtics. Can't really remember if they ended up scoring or not, but there's still a lot of opportunities for Boston to get second chance points. Rebounding battle, the Sixers had 47 rebounds compared to the Celtics 49. ESPN's not showing how many offensive rebounds the team had. So the Celtics ended up having 15 offensive rebounds compared to the Sixers 5. So the Celtics, they were doing their thing, man. They were getting their offensive rebounds. They were putting up their threes. They were not hitting those threes. That's what the team does. They live by the three, die by the three. Jayson Tatum went 4 for 12. Derek White has been atrocious this series. He went 0 for 4. He's playing like what is Derek White's comparison for this series? He's like the Raul Neto of Drew Holiday's? I don't know. But yeah, Derek White has been god-awful. He has been so bad. Nikola Vucevic was stretching the floor for them, ended up having 8 points. Really wasn't cooking them as much as last game. Still, you're still getting some good bench contributions from Payne Pritchard, had 12 points. Really, other than that, the Celtics didn't have that many contributors, honestly. Well, Hauser, he did have those 2 threes in the fourth quarter with around 8 minutes left to get the Celtics back down to 2. It was a 94-92 Sixers lead. Right after that, you had Quentin Grimes getting and one, driving to the basket. Grimes was fantastic in this one. It's ridiculous how the Sixers fandom, whenever they bully a player, whenever they just go ham on a guy on social media, just rip them to shreds, they end up playing better. I don't understand it. I don't know if it's just familiar or similar, unique to Sixers fans. There's so much stuff going through my head right now. I can barely think straight. Grimes was awesome. He came out after a lackluster performance in, everyone sucked in Game 4, but Grimes' box score stats looked good, but he was only playing well when the game was pretty much already over, when the Celtics were up by like 25 points. But no, Grimes was doing exactly what you needed him to do, hitting wide open threes and playing fantastic defense. Possibly my favorite play of the game was when you had Grimes hit that catch and shoot three off that Embiid assist. And then right after, you get him locking down Jaylen Brown on full court press, full court. I think it was in the half court first, but then Grimes knocked it out all the way down to the Celtics side, and he was just locking down Jaylen Brown. Fantastic defense by Grimes. That really is one of his biggest strengths, if not his best, is his point of attack defense. That was awesome. That was great defense by Grimes, and that might be a good matchup to put on Jaylen Brown. Brown has succeeded a lot in beating players off the dribble, and yet when you put Grimes on him, a pesky defender who, when he's not, creating his own shot, trying to create his own shot, at least he has a lot more energy to, put it on the defensive end. And he was playing great defense on Jaylen Brown. That was awesome. Paul George was doing his thing too, man. Everyone, the Sixers, they were playing their roles. Exactly what you needed them to do. They only shot 36% from three. That's not amazing. It's not, like the magnet ball that they had in Game 2. And it was like, well, the Sixers actually have a chance. But then they just get destroyed next couple of games. Then they come out here in Game 5 with a whole new energy, a lot more cohesive, a lot more fight, really. The rebounding is what it is. They simply do not have the size. They do not have the length, the strength of the Boston Celtics. It's most likely what is going to kill them in this series. We still got to keep it 100% here on NZ for 3. It was a great win. Of course, we got to celebrate any Sixers win. Yet, there's still a feeling within me that feels as though that they're just sort of delaying the inevitable. As much as I was just floored by how well Embiid was playing. And by the way, anyone who said that this team was better than Joel Embiid, you need to put yourself in timeout. You need to go sit in the corner for the next, or at least until Thursday, all right? You can still feed yourself, but you need time to reflect on your basketball analysis, because it's clear as day that when Embiid is on the court, it's a completely different game. The Celtics have no answer for him. They don't. It's Neemias Queta and Nikola Vucevic. The only thing stopping Embiid is his tendency to not be as aggressive in the post as he should be, always floating on the perimeter, and his appendix that is messed up still, or lack of thereof, because he got the surgery to get it removed. We were talking about Paul George, right? Well, yeah, so Paul George, 16 points, 6 for 13, 4 for 9 from 3. Fantastic. Just be the Michael Jordan of Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris, by the way, shooting 14% from 3 for the Pistons. The Pistons are down 1-3 against the Magic. They are a joke. And you have Tobias, they're expecting Tobias to be a second option. We all know how that was going to go. Yet, you had Paul George being the Michael Jordan of Tobias Harris. Exactly what you needed Tobias to do. Stretch the floor, get rebounds. Also brought that playmaking too. Paul George, a good passer. He was finding a lot of teammates for some good shots. He just played an all-around fantastic game both ends of the floor, and had a near triple-double. 5 personal fouls, but that's all right. We got the win. That's exactly what you need Paul George to do, man. I mean, he was really going off at the beginning of the game too, hitting 2 threes, I think, and then kind of tailed off a little bit. That was something I didn't really like about Paul George, that he's been decent in this series shooting-wise. We're going to go pull up his shooting numbers in the playoffs. He hasn't had a truly bad game from the field. It's just that he hasn't been as aggressive as you would want him to, especially when you needed him to step up as that second option with Embiid out. So game 1, 4 for 8, 17 points, 4 rebounds, 50% from the field. Then in game 2, 7 for 13, 54%, 19 points, 7 for 14 in game 3, 18 points, 6 for 13, 16 points. So those were good. Those were good role player numbers. Those were good OG Anunoby numbers. You know what I mean? Just good stats that you would like out of a role player. Yet you had Paul George really show why, the Sixers wanted to give him that max contract. Is it the worst contract in the league? Still, of course it is. Yet he was showing you why he is still trying such a valuable player when he is locked in with his all-around skill set and kind of being the Swiss Army knife for the Sixers that they have lacked for so many years. VJ Edgecombe had a much better. He was a lot better, honestly. Was bringing a lot of intensity. Had some good shot contests on Jayson Tatum at the rim. Ended up shooting 3 for 8, 3 for 6 from 3. That's good to see, man. That's good to see. VJ, it was a little concerning about how bad he was at hitting wide open threes this entire series. Now, it is good that he at least has the confidence to shoot these threes. I mean, he was 0 for 5 in Game 5, first ever playoff game. You'd think he would shrink, but no. He ends up going 6 for 10 Game 2 when he had that 30 bomb. Then Game 3, 0 for 7. Game 4, 0 for 5. Game 5, though, he steps it up and ended up shooting a lot better from beyond the arc. So the fact that you have this 20-year-old rookie being this confident at this stage of his career, he he was playing college hoops last year, man. Like, he should be a sophomore in college, yet he's balling out and having some fantastic games in the NBA playoffs. At least he had one. The others were not amazing. My point is, not a lot of rookies do that. Not a whole lot of rookies are doing this. Most of them are sitting at home right now, and you got VJ really doing a lot of the dirty work for the Sixers too. That's what is also really valuable about his skill set, is that he doesn't really have to shoot that well to make an impact on the game, because he could just really crank it up defensively. So it's ridiculous that the Sixers even have to rely on a 20-year-old rookie to carry most of the offense in the first place. That should be Joel Embiid doing that. It should. He is that guy. He won an MVP for a reason. He's one of the most dominant scorers of all time, and he's unstoppable when he's getting it going. Nikola Vucevic, really? 85-year-old Nikola Vucevic? Neemias Queta too. I mean, I like Queta. Vuce is a decent center. They can't guard Joel Embiid. It's not like Marc Gasol back in the day. Who else, man? We got Al Horford too. He was always giving Joel trouble. The Celtics don't have, or Embiid's not facing those type of defenders in this series. It's Queta and Vooch. Just get into the post, man. Go utilize that gravity. Embiid improved a lot as a passer over the years. Had 8 assists. That's awesome. And it just really depends on whether the Sixers are going to be capitalizing off the opportunities Joel is creating out on the perimeter with his rim pressure. If the Sixers are gonna somehow get this to 7 games, honestly, at this point, I don't really care if it goes either way. I mean, if they take it to Game 7, that would be cool, because then the Celtics are going to be more worn down into their next series. And then, if the Sixers, there is always, of course, that delusional 76ers fan within me with that little glimmer of hope, just surrounded by all the darkness of this organization. I'm not gonna hold my breath. They're not a good team at home. Boston, they're gonna make adjustments. You had Joe Mazzulla really getting into his players during the entire game, just screaming at them. Nick Nurse just screaming at the refs the entire time, as in the first quarter the Celtics shot 1 for 10 or something. They were shooting horribly from 3, yet we're still winning. Really, in general, the Sixers did not start that game off well. Yet they stayed in it, man. They stayed in it. Joel really got his act together, and then it really all trickled down from there when it came to just a much better shot diet, more quality shots being generated, just a lot more clutch shots too. I mean, you needed Quentin Grimes to show up on the bench. You need guys to contribute on your bench. You had Paul George play 43 minutes. That was awesome. VJ 40 minutes, Embiid 39. They do play on Thursday too, so you don't got a 2-game break. Maybe you might have a 2-game break for Game 7. So yeah, I mean, they got to rest up. Tyrese Maxey was good too. Tyrese Maxey was good. And, he was a lot more aggressive in this one. 10 for 18, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Being the leader of the team, Maxey took that accountability, saying that he had to be more aggressive, and that 10 rebounds, that really shows his hustle. His improved shot volume, too, definitely is an indicator that he wanted to be more involved and wasn't just deferring to Embiid the entire game, which was good. Just getting a lot more aggressive, just going right to the rack. The Celtics are actually, I saw this one stat on social media, the Celtics are like historically good at preventing rim shots, which kind of made a lot of sense given Maxey's passiveness, given that how elite of a slasher Tyrese Maxey is, how acrobatic his finishes are, how much he really relies on using his speed to blow off his defender by the dribble and then going and get a layup. And Maxey, it was good to see him be a little bit more aggressive too, get some more synergy with Embiid working in the two-man game. This is exactly what the Sixers need, man. This was the formula. This was the original foundation for what this core of Embiid, Paul George, and Maxey should have been. You had Embiid and Maxey do a lot of the carrying offensively, whereas, scoring-wise, whereas you had Paul George, space the floor, hit threes efficiently, use Embiid's gravity, really punish the defense for doubling Embiid, because in prior years you had no shooters on this team. You still don't have any shooters on this team. I'm not gonna, really believe in the Sixers magnet ball at this point. I'm not going to. I just can't. The scars are too deep. With my experience with this team in the playoffs, I mean, 2 days from now they could be getting blown out by 30 points. Yeah, you saw what the idea was with this roster. It all depended on them actually getting on the floor together and having a good shooting night and really playing the way they should have, utilizing Embiid's size. That's the thing. I mean, this is the type of talent that wins you an NBA championship. It's such a shame that the Sixers have not done a good enough job at building Embiid a good enough roster to really compete in the playoffs. Having Tobias Harris for that long, seriously? Wash James Harden? Ben Simmons? Just stacking up on all these dudes who should be in the NFL instead of the NBA because they just can't shoot. They can't do anything. They're big, but couldn't do anything else. Couldn't shoot. They couldn't pass. Couldn't dribble. This team is still undersized. Not good at rebounding. Yet, when Embiid's on the floor, you got a chance, man. You got a chance. That's the thing. Embiid really is a warrior. There's no way around it. All these Embiid haters online who are just sick in the head, honestly. It makes no sense how they just think about Embiid day and night because they just wish, I guess, that they had a player as good as him on their team. Yeah, he has been injured his entire career, never been to a conference finals, blah, 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 but he's one of the most dominant players of all time, and the Sixers suck without him. They're nothing without him. You need this type of talent to win in the NBA. The NBA is dominated by bigger players, I mean, there have been times that Tyrese Maxey has struggled in this series. It's just a matter of fact that Embiid's such a big dude. He gets a lot of mismatches, just a dominant enough scorer. Like you saw it. It's much harder to stop Embiid than it is a guard like Tyrese Maxey. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Embiid's been stopped before, but you needed to throw everything at him. But Maxey, he has, 21 points in game 1, 40% from the field, 11 for 28 in game 2, 29 points, but did really show up in the clutch. The box score stats don't really say much about that. But, 12 for 31, 39%, 31 points, 7 for 14. That was when he was passive in game 5 with 22. This is the type of talent that wins in the NBA. I just, as optimistic I would like to be for the Sixers moving forward. This is the Joel Embiid team. Joel Embiid is the player that will win you a championship. Just like how it was Giannis who won the Bucks a championship. The Nuggets with Jokic. The Thunder with SGA, who's like 6'6". LeBron. All these big players who win KD. Who are just simply unstoppable by their amazing physical skill sets. And as fast as Tyrese Maxey is, you just don't have a guard win championships in this league, unless you're like Stephen Curry. You're a 1 in a trillion talent. So this just shows, man, how important Embiid is to this team. It's just plain and simple. I wish Embiid's body wouldn't fail him. Otherwise, I wouldn't be, as pessimistic about his contract extension, how stupid that move was. I still thought the Embiid extension was dumb. Yet, you see, man, he's just that good. He's that good. It's ridiculous just how deep his bag is. He's kind of been a brick from three in the playoffs, shot like, sub 30% for his entire career. I was checking that today. Still, though, I mean, his mid-range game, his post agility, his physicality, his just ability to get to the line, 9 for 10 from the free throw line, he's just dominant. He's got to continue being dominant if the Sixers have a chance. That's really all I got, man. Hit that like and subscribe button. If you're new around here, on the road to 1K subscribers, Sixers Celtics Game 6 on Thursday. We'll see what happens, man. Peace.